I'll give you Prefatory to NoelStryfe. I was playing casual even in Tekken 7. I played Tekken since it came out. I didn't start learning the game until January 2018. And I thought I was going to be a Steve main. My favorite characters are in order: Horong, Steve, Brian, King, and Nina. They're my favorite characters. So like, aesthetically speaking, alright, so I was gonna play Steve. The first tournament I went to, there were 4 Steve players and no Horong players. So I was like, damn, this can't be. They got my guy. Alright, fuck that. I'm playing WoW. Like, I was, you know, so I did that. But there was this guy to beat me 3 tournaments in a row. Same guy. And this is before I learned about frames or real combos or any of that shit. And like something in my head got fed up with that. Something in my head got fed up with it. And like, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop playing all these other games more than Tekken. And I'm gonna play Tekken more than I play these other games. And, you know, really try to improve. And the way I did was I just rewatched my streams and I was like, that's bad. I got hit by that like 6 times in the whole set. All right, let's try to look out for that. Let's take that to the lab and see what I can do against it. All right. And then I heard about the Tekken Chicken app. I downloaded that shit on my phone, you know, and I figured out some of the frames. Let's see, what you talking about? Britney Spears? No, I live in it was Logic from Ohio. He's if you know Comatose, he's Comatose' old training partner. Shout out to Comatose. Comatose ended up becoming my rival. But before Comatose got really solid, he was struggling to beat Logic. And Logic and him would come down to Indianapolis and basically and Sloosh. He would come down to Indianapolis and like dominate our tournament because we didn't have anybody here solid at Tekken. So like, you know, just fodder, you know, some way to pick up extra cash or some shit like that. And yeah. And so what happened? Yeah, in January I took it serious, and the next month, February, I won my first tournament for Tekken. We're wrong, of course, you know. And ever since then, I was grinding. I made up a rule. I'm gonna play 6 days a week. I got no obligations. I got a girlfriend, but like her time was very specific. So like I can manage playing 6 days a week, and you know, 6 days a week, at least 3 hours. And I did that shit. And on the day I was done, the day I didn't play, I would review my replays. I came up with this rule: first to 2, if you beat me to 2, I rematch you to 10. And I record that shit on my PlayStation before I had this PC, right? And that rule has, I think I have over 100, maybe I think I have like 200 gigs of saved replays. There's L Train before I knew him, Glaciating before I knew him, Shadow before I knew him. Shadow was blowing up actually, because it was 2018, which is when Shadow was really starting to blow up. Shadow, like so many players. You might be on there too if you were playing on PlayStation, Glaze. So like, it's kind of crazy looking back at that shit now, however, and you know, just seeing my growth and all of that. But I would watch those to understand, what did I do wrong? All right, let me take that move to the lab. All right, he was using, all right, so Glaciating was using Paul. I got hit by this. I stopped Glaciating's 58 win streak, right? But I kept getting hit by this specific move. Let me take that move to the lab. Let me use my Tekken Chicken app or whatever and figure it out, right? And figure it out. I looked the shit up, figured out how punishable the move is. I jab and do the move. Can I sidestep it? Can I backdash it? You know, like, can I sidewalk it? Like, I did all of that shit. And I was watching Ares heavy because Ares had a lot of tutorial shit for Tekken. Like, there's no way to learn Tekken. You have to do it online, essentially. Like, the game doesn't teach you how to play it. They got a little better now, but it's still not that great compared to other 2D games specifically. I think Dragon Ball FighterZ and a couple other Guilty Gear Strive, whatever. I think there's some other games that have like very, very functional tutorials that really help you understand the mechanics of the game better than Tekken does, whatever. And I was like, but I was so driven. I am so driven and devoted to my goal was to beat the best. You know, people was always talking about JDCR Saint in my scene. It was all JDCR Saint, because, you know, they were dominating at that time, right? JDCR Saint, they were saying all that shit. And I'm like, bruh, What's separating them from me? Like, I've been playing games my whole fucking life, right? Fuck that. I'm about to whoop their ass. And here we are. 4 years later, we still on that grind, you know? 4 years later, we still on that grind. After I won my first, it was like the 3 tournaments after that. So I think it was February, March, and April, and May. I think I won all of those monthly. And then I think June was when Sloosh, I finally got a chance to play Sloosh. I think Sloosh was too busy or something. And he came, and I'd always seen Sloosh play Lucky Chloe or Kazumi at that point. And I didn't know anything about Sloosh at all. I just knew he wasn't from Indianapolis, right? So I, you know, what I ended up doing was I played him, and he played Eddie against me. He played Eddie, and I was like, huh, why would he play Eddie against me? I had no clue. I thought that, I don't know, I didn't understand why he played Eddie. And and I made it to winners finals with him. He dusted me 3-0 quick. I was so enraged. I played Comatose in losers finals. I don't remember the set at all. There's no recollection of the set in my mind. I think he played Geese and he switched to Jack, or vice versa. But I know I steamrolled it. I steamrolled Comatose. Yeah. And I made it back to him in grand finals in June. And you know what happened? I got beat 3-1. So after that loss, I was like, oh shit. And you know, Sloosh is a super nice dude and stuff. But I'm so passionate and hungry that, like, I was like, all right, like, yeah, no, we can be cool. We friends. We all right, right? And then what I ended up doing is I made a mark for all the people around me that were better, like, in a ladder, starting with Sloosh, right? I was like, all right, so there's this Sloosh dude, this Ohio or whatever. There's this L Train dude that's in Detroit. I remember him from one of the clutches or whatever. There's Jody the Great that came to one Naptown Clutch 2018 or whatever. Like, there's him. There's, like, you know, I'm like taking note of these people. Like, I got them written down. I got tendencies and shit in a notebook, whatever. I lost the notebook, but, like, I had all of that shit, you know. And I felt it personally attacked by Sloosh picking Eddie against me. Obviously, he didn't mean to. It was just Eddie versus Horong is a good matchup for Eddie. So, like, he just did it because of that. But I was too young to understand matchups, really. Like, I didn't understand matchups. I kind of understood. I understood what I needed to do and what I didn't need to do. Not like, oh, the Eddie versus Horong matchup. Like, Eddie's backdash shits on Horong's aggression. So Horong has to buckle down his aggression if he wants to have success. So I took Eddie to the lab for like a month and a half straight. Like, I think a month straight or so. And that's what made my Eddie defense so great. Whatever. And I haven't really lost to any Eddies like that outside of you, Glaze. It's really difficult to beat me with Eddie. As Horong. Really difficult. So much so that I beat Spirogen. Like, so, like, you know, so I end up befriending Sloosh, and then as I mark him, I was like, all right, now we're Facebook friends. If I see he's interested in a tournament, I'm going to that shit. I ain't never went to a tournament outside the state, not once. Whatever. I'm like, shit, I got a car, a fucking 2018. I had a 2018 Altima, or whatever. I was like, bruh. Like, fuck it. We going. I got good gas mileage. What else am I using my money on? I'm going. So I see you going to somewhere in Cincinnati for a tournament. I was like, bet. I'm there. I seen that shit. It sounds very stalkerish because it is. I'm vengeful. I'm a very vengeful person, right? So I go to this tournament and he's not even there because he had family stuff. You know, he is a father and a husband, right? So I guess that's acceptable. I went there to whoop his ass. And the vitriol, the anger that I was carrying really made me believe that was the way I had to be in order to win. Like, I was playing like fucking, not death metal, but I was playing aggressive like rock and shit on the way there. When I was before the tournament, I would put headphones in and listen to fucking Pantera S, Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold. I was like, I was using that energy to fuel my passion, but in actuality, it was just making me really aggressive, and I ended up losing that first match to a Horongmere. Shout out to Justin Huga. It was him. I lost that first match. Suits wasn't in the tournament, but they still have some dope players. And I brought it all the way back and won. And since then, it's kind of just been the same formula. Like I just go, if I see people that I know that I want to fight, like I go to their tournaments, you know. That's really what it is. So, you know, I wanted to fight Lil Majin, so I went to Nashville in 2018 summer, whatever. I did get a chance to, whatever. I did get a chance to. He beat me. I figured out that he's pretty much the most calm Tekken player. That was also the first time I played Spearow too, and Spearow barely beat me. Well, he beat me 2-0, but the rounds were too close. The rounds were too close, and I knew I would beat him next time I played him. Whatever. It just happened to be 2 years after that.